time we are on, you get the notification straight. And if you haven't liked our page yet on Facebook, please do that as well, so you can get the notification anytime we are live. Let's begin. Excuse me. This morning we're going to start with a story. This one from the Vanguard newspaper, page 5. APC kicks as Atiku says only Supreme Court can end his fight with Tinubu.
All right. I hope this will be the last time I would have to review this story, because every time I have to talk about it, it turns my stomach. Okay? So maybe some people will describe this as a fight between the APC and PDP, or between Atiku and Tinubu. That's their personal business. Neither am I bothered again about whether the Supreme Court or whatever the Supreme Court would rule. Nigeria is a very unpredictable country, and I don't want to cast aspersions on any person or group of persons. So whichever way the legal side of it goes, it doesn't bother me. I hope by now those who are very fair-minded, those who are very, very fair-minded and open-minded, I can face the truth. Whether they are supporters or not, will now know why some of us said that this gentleman shouldn't run. Because at my age, at 67, I find myself under the leadership of somebody who has questions to answer. And there are some things that I have a total aversion for any form of crime. And I think any well-brought-up person would think likewise. A lot of people are going to have their images tarnished at the end of this exercise. There are certain things that are very, very clear. There are questions to be answered. And there are all kinds of harebrained answers. When I watched yesterday what I missed on TV, I went to watch on YouTube. People trying to defend. Some of them will divert the discussion into the Supreme Court losses, this and that. We have a president who has questions to answer. The simplest of which we don't know yet. Nnamdi Azikiwe went to the Methodist Boys High School. I've forgotten the school Awolowo went to. One of the things of pride, that you have as a leader is to say, oh, the Ghanaian president, one of them went to Harvard, and so on and so forth. Our reputation is at the lowest ever. And anybody who thinks otherwise, you need to go check his background. Is that this is unacceptable. I'm looking at the moral side of things. When you were going to run for governorship, you said you went to a primary school that hadn't even been in existence at that time, and that you went to Government College Ibadan. That didn't happen. Then came this is not directly related, but it puts a dot on a white shirt, the issue of fine or no fine for drug-related issues. That one is there. Now we have this. What is certain from what you have here is that the certification is doubtful in all manners possible, depending on which side of the divide that you are. Okay, so there's a report that, there was some female gender that was used to apply, and all this. At the end of the day, I find it very, very shameful, and it turns my stomach. I will not, there is no point trying to give an opinion here. It depends on the way you are structured, the way you were brought up, and your background. And Nigerians should open their eyes and see what everybody is saying, so that you can determine their characters now in case of the future. That is the part that is important to me. How full-grown adults sometimes can try to juggle things that are so clear in public space, and bring the whole country to a standstill. In public place. I will make a plea one more time to our political leaders, Atiku included, Peter Obi, Kwakwanso, all of them, down to the governors. One governor, for example, he was asked by Seun Okinbaloye on television, which university did you attend? He said the issue is in court. I think it was the Ogun State governor. Which university did you attend? University of Ife? I saw it. He said it is in court. Our Lagos governor here was also accused of, and you begin to ask yourself, what is going wrong? What kind of people are we? How can you accuse me, for example, that I didn't go to the Methodist? My CV, everybody out there can write it. You know, it's an open book. How can I don't understand where all these things are coming from? The one I failed, I failed. The one I passed, I passed. So what legacy are we leaving for our children? What legacy? If Nigeria were a company, would it not have been bankrupt by now? So I'm not going to get, I leave the legal sides to my friend, GT and, GT and, what's the name of my friend again? How can I forget my friend's name? Candy Johnson. You know. Let them sort out all the legal and leave us out of it. And let us see, at the end of the day, if the way we are going is going to be, if we are headed in the right direction, and if there's any joy at the end of this journey that we've begun. So that's where I am. Mr. Sheriff has put on his mic. He wants to say something.
Yeah, what I want to say is that we have to move on to another story very
quickly. No, Sheriff. Nah, don't leave me alone in this matter.
You've said ultimately everything.
Hey, but lend your voice. Let them say Jimmy and Sheriff. Don't let them be saying me. You know these guys are going to come, and that's where I feel so sorry.
Yeah.
You know, for those who come after you in on Facebook and whatever. He hates him. What kind of hate is this? I'm sorry for all of you. We are striving for us to have a good country, for us to follow the rules, for us to carry out various assignments as human beings. And usually is bereft of any idea. He hates him. This hate is too much. I don't hate anybody. I don't have any business with anybody, but I like myself. I want to live in a country, and I have lived in this same country. At the time when one had the option to cross over to the other side, you should ask yourself questions. Why is this man just howling here, wearing T-shirts, and so on and so forth, instead of going to... It's a national spirit which you must have. And it's beyond anybody. I can't stay loyal to any politician ever. None. Well, at the end of the day, maybe 2 years from now, you'll be surprised if you find Atiku and Tinubu drinking fura and whatever from Anakara from the same bowl. The two of a kind. Two of a kind. So this is why I refuse to see Tinubu's emissaries. That's what we even got from here. They had sent, Atiku says, Tinubu sent emissaries to see him, and he says, I'm not afraid of attacks on my business interests. And then I don't like the way Atiku himself has even his speech and his response to interviews. He should have focused on the main issue and not talk about, I didn't betray him, I didn't do this. These are all these political jargons, that they use. He should have gone straight. And then somebody asked me, let me stretch our minds a bit. Somebody asked me that, why is Peter Obi and Kwakwanso, why are they so quiet? It makes sense for them to be quiet, so there's no distraction. I don't know what Atiku is going to get from the Supreme Court, and I don't think I care. Because we don't need a Supreme Court to do the needful.
What do we need? Who do we need?
We need courage, and unfortunately we don't have. We need courage, we need bold people, we need true people. The imbalance in our political structure is coming out to play here. I'm speaking in tongues this morning. If you don't understand, then what will I say? You don't need to court, or you don't need this particular ruling in Supreme Court and whatever. If Nigerians are not satisfied, if they're happy with the status quo, fine. If they're not happy, they will go to their representatives and say, go to the center there and do the needful. But we don't, we'll try about that. We'll just go. Let me go and enjoy my weekend.
Let's go take our next story
you still
from
haven't
the Punch
said
newspaper.
You will not escape. You haven't said anything.
What I want to say is that a lot has been said. What?
I remember that when we were very, very young, we were very, very young in the 60s. If somebody does something that you don't, I say, yeah. It just burst my bubble. Anyway, but my sister pleaded with you this morning. Don't aggravate Papa.
But that's what I just did.
Okay.
That's what I just did. No.
Next story.
Exactly. Page 11 has a story here that reads, sorry, sir. SMEs closing shops on daily basis, says Nasi.
This is very worrying. It's a hidden story here, and I wonder why the editor hid the story. Because for me, one thing that can quickly build the economy up is for us to find the ways and means for SMEs to grow. I don't believe, I've said this before, all this running around looking for foreign investors is neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there for me. You need to grow businesses within. Look at what Mr. Peter Pokwola, who is the vice chairman of the Lagos chapter of the small scale industries, he says that it is the small scale industries that contribute mostly to the economy, and in Nigeria it's no different. When you look at all the MSMEs, there are more than 50 million. Small, the Baba, small scale, 50 million. When you talk about employment, they also take the lead. 4 people here, this cleaner, that's the way to grow your economy, really. Not to go and bring some briefcase and whatever. We will do this, we'll do that. Where they've made all the money, off they go. But he puts up an argument, and I think I might have to invite Mr. Popola here. He says, the economy is not friendly to us. Our members are feeling the hardship in a very serious way. The first monster they face is power. Then the cost of raw materials and so on and so forth. That is where the government should target. How does the Baba, turn around his shop for him to be productive? In fact, our members are closing up every day because they cannot continue any longer. The prices of raw materials have skyrocketed. We can't produce with generator again. If we buy diesel at 1,050 to produce, we will run at a loss. And we were speaking at a fair, the made in Nigeria products, and so on and so forth. I just wish the government would focus on this instead of with the foreign investments. One is not even sure some of the things being said whether they are true or not. There's a credibility problem, and I wonder what our standing is like on the international front. I shudder to think of what people think of us as a country, but then.
Let's go to the news page of.
Waiting, when I said "but then," I thought you would finish the sentence.
I have no
That's
idea
Ricky's
what
style.
you wanted. Well, I had no idea what you wanted to say. Let's go to the news pages. The Punch and the Daily Trust. Yes.
Mm-hmm. We've not said your criticisms. I've gotten a feedback that we keep using the same papers every day. Well, let me be honest with you. Some other papers, you pick them up and you just put them down. That's the honest to God truth. But we will try and spread it about and spread it a bit more. And remember, the program is only 30 minutes. And we have only just about, maybe less than 30 minutes to prepare. That's when the material comes in. Because you see, some of the news you see online is not in the papers. Okay, so let's get to this. Guard foils suspects attempt to raid Lagos Bank. Trader fears disease outbreak over refuse in Ogun State. Refuse in Ogun Market. They can't clear the refuse. Would this have any bearing to do with what the former local government chairman said, that the allocation is not whatever? Let me bring my knife. I think I've
what is that for?
Abuja one victim plan to begin PhD in 2024. Lagos Task Force impounds 35 vehicles and demolish shanties. Yeah, they seem to be moving. Unica lecturer accused of sexual harassment arrested. I thought they said that he was kidnapped.
Oh, really?
About 2 days ago, there was this, whatever. I think he was trying to play smart.
Oh.
Look at this news, Sheriff. BRT bus crushes 3 to death. Another set of.
I heard when Kofi was talking about it earlier
Yes.
this morning, and I was like, wow,
Yes.
what again? Why? Like, why do we have to be here again?
A steward, Happiness Sunday. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. Good. For sexually assaulting his employer's children who are aged 10 and 8. These are the days of DIY. If I were you. Because most of us, if we were living outside the country, you wouldn't have any house boy or house girl. You have to do things yourself. And we've gotten to that point. What I would suggest is, if you have the means, you live in try and live in an enclosure, where some of the things like light and whatever, if you have the means, are taken care of, so you don't have to be the one carrying drum to go and back. I know it can be very, very tough, especially for middle class people. It can be very, very tough. But this risk, imagine, you can't just turn your head. I remember back in the days, you could even leave a baby with mechanic and food the PDP. I want to run to the market, and you come back, you find the mechanic petting the baby. You can't even do anything.
It's unfortunate, really.
It has even got to a point where some wives cannot leave the baby with their husbands. Oh yes.
Oh
yes.
That's bad.
Very bad. Ekiti understudies Lagos for waste management, and so on and so forth. So let's go to the
Daily Trust.
Daily Trust. Man arrested for chaining wife in Yobe. Premarital screening law underway. There's Kano Hisba.
Yes.
What would they be screening for? HIV and stuff like that?
I have no idea. And one of the things I was wondering when I heard the story is that would they screen the man of premarital sex? How would they know?
How would you know now? There's
exactly
like the joke in beer parlors, you not get to meet her. So,
it's essentially so it's looking like a one-sided approach to me. If you can easily detect the woman, if the woman has had premarital sex, then you must find a way to detect the man as well.
I'm sure.
Otherwise, it's rubbish. It's nonsense.
One of the spirits behind this law is targeted at women.
I think so. Yes.
To ask her if she, and sorry to say, this is obvious. They usually marry them quite young. So if you are marrying a 14, 15, you want to be sure that
So the men are okay. The men are good
men
to have premarital affairs.
This is a mess. Anyway. Okay, so there's not much news there, except for ads. You just see a lot of government ads, and I keep wondering, when are we going to stop this culture of waste? By the way, today is Dele Alake's birthday. We call him Dappy. He's 67 today, and we wish him a very happy birthday.
Let's bring you this rather tragic story. It's not new, it's just an update. Doctor admits discarding parts removed from boy with missing intestine.
When I read it this morning, Sherry, I'm not talking to you again.
we just finished
because
talking.
you won't. I just remembered. I'm not talking to you again. But our listeners out there, when I read this story, I said, "Oh my God!" Dr. Abayomi Bayewu of Obitox Hospital has admitted that the parts taken out of late Adebola Akinbright, the 12-year-old boy, were mistakenly discarded instead of taking them for histology. I can't believe this. I wish I could call Dr. Ayeni on this program. That a doctor says that, the parts from the boy, they were supposed to be taken for histology to determine this and that, cancer and whatever, and mistakenly they threw them in the dustbin.
Oh my word. My word.
Late Akinbright had 2 initial surgeries in Obitox before his referral to Lassoth. Dr. Bayewu made the confession during his appearance before an ad hoc committee chaired by Honorable Nohim Adams probing the case of missing intestines. A video documenting the investigation carried out by the committee was watched yesterday at a public hearing over the case conducted by the Lagos State House of Assembly. It was discovered rather from the video recording evidence that Obitox Hospital used only auxiliary nurses during surgery. We need to put in perspective, what use we can put auxiliary nurses to. Yeah. Even for the public to know.
There are limits.
Growing up, going to hospitals, the good old rules in those days, you would know an auxiliary nurse from like here to the gate because their uniform was different. These days, you don't even know anymore. You would know nurses' different grades from the uniform and whatever, and then the matron and so. These days, it's all. And for those who have a bit of training, auxiliary nurses who treat people privately, you better be careful. You better be careful. All this giving an injection at home, giving drip, and so on and so forth. If it goes south, remember that Nigerian patients, a lot of them, especially at the lower rung, would never sometimes tell you the truth about what exactly is wrong with them. Person who spent the last 15 days in a man's house will come and tell you that, it must be the pounded yam that I ate yesterday that is worrying me. You go and give injection for pounded yam instead of injection for pregnancy. So you better all just be very, very careful. If you are not licensed, do not touch a patient. The most whatever one is that you could have given an injection. Some people will go and they say, let me get another injection from this. His injection might be better than this. They could go and take some agbo that will turn everything around. If anything happens to them, they'll be saying that, it's the injection that you give. So please be careful. If you know all these nurses that set up drip and whatever in their homes, let them know it's a very, very dangerous thing to do.
Yes, it is.
But what do you think is going? If I ask you now, you will answer. What do you think is going to happen to Bayewu?
I think they wrote it there that they have shut down the hospital from.
Yeah, but what's going to happen to him?
Theater. I can't say. I can't say. I think the authorities will determine, what to go from there, or maybe even I think it's a state matter now. It's not even for the parents anymore.
Years back, there was a doctor, I think somewhere in Ketu, who took a patient there who had cancer. You removed the cancerous part, you didn't refer for chemo or whatever. Of course, the patient died.
Oh. And I could also I think I could understand the plight of the health officials, especially the players in the health sector, because we have fewer. Every day we're losing nurses. Every day we're losing doctors. Every day we're losing all kinds of people from the health sector. So you have this shortage, this huge gap. So some hospitals are shutting down. That the government
is not ready to fill. Because you see, if you look at what the government had done, Lagos State, for example, look at how you pamper judges. The day a judge is appointed, for as long as once he gets the key to the house, it becomes his for life. So have you heard any lawyers japa or any judges japa? No. And they could go to Gambia, they could go to other countries. So if you were going to do, you see, that's why I tell you that. But your politicians are not human beings. You do that to protect yourselves. Now the politicians have a grip of the judiciary. They pamper them, give them cars. The other day, our governor here lined them up and give them keys of cars and so on and so forth. But you don't want to do that for the medical field. Because you know that you can always go abroad for medical whatever. Then you find them going to Israel, going to, so they might one day, going to Israel, going to this and going to that. You must have some. The same thing is happening now in the teaching profession.
I wanted to say that, but please go on, sir.
I will beat you to it because it's also happening in the teaching profession. What Tony Blair did many years ago, he professionalized the teaching profession so that you had a future. I mean, because why should you as a graduate, look at it this way. let me go back to the doctor. You have a judge who's 12 years post whatever. You have a doctor the same. But when it comes to treatment of the two, the whatever is as wide as this.
Yeah.
Look at doctors' quarters. See the dilapidated. You can't hold on to and you must hold on to them. You must.
Because I heard that's another exodus that's happening right now in the teaching sector. Lecturers are leaving.
They're
teachers
living. Yes, and you cannot develop if you don't put your best foot forward. That's part of the political problem we have. I don't know. I'm tired, Sheriff. I'm going on vacation soon, you know.
Let's take.
But then I might not come back.
We shall see.
I'm tired.
Remote control. Have you heard of remote control?
I call him me.
It's not my mouth, too. This thing, they're not my mouth.
This mouth is enough is catching.
Let's take our last story, an interesting one. Interior Minister wants prisoners to grow own food.
Makes sense. Makes sense. If you know the racketeering that goes into the food that prisoners eat, it's so sad. It's a big business. Even they do it. You see, it's always good sometimes at times like this for you to have experience. Some of the people who you pander to, you know, that you say, how did you make it? Do you know the racketeering that goes into feeding even the military that have gone to put their lives on the line? Watch any movie, Watch any movie, any of these American movies, and see how military men are treated in the front, the kind of food that they eat. Look at what Nigerians eat. We know people who made money from supplying cows to the military in the past, and God will forgive them because the soldiers or whoever they are, you give them maybe you're supposed to supply 20 cows, you supply 3.
Oh.
These people have become big. There's a name that is sticking in my head, more so because he's died. I don't even want to describe him. He became friends of the military and became a super billionaire from supplying food to for soldiers in the front. So I love this idea, and you know it is our friend Sobe Shebe. That's the nickname I've given him.
Sobe Shebe.
What's his name?
Talk Nadu.
Tunji. They should plant. Why can't they should plant their own food, plant their own vegetables, their poultry, whatever. So what you see is what you get. Right. But again, I also like to use this opportunity to appeal that we decongest the prisons. Some of the photographs coming out of prisons by the way those people sleep. Yeah. Well, Joe, this early morning, if you like, don't say amen. Not let me go prison.
Amen.
You see now.
Don't underestimate
all those people when they preach inside ferry, they will say, if you know, maybe you sit down and you don't care that. If you know that you want to get to the end of the day, say an amen now. You don't say amen.
It's stylish to say amen. We have to go. We must go now. Thank you so much for coming, sir. Lagos, thank you for joining us. It's back to Kofi on the Morning Crossfire. Good morning to you.
.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info.